You're on the Six Screens Telenetwork, earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited, in exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society. And now, Disney.
Well, there you all are, and thank you for wanting to come in and spend some time here in the Six Screens tonight. Well, my name's Rick Farron. I'm coming to you from the apostate capital of the world, right up here in Boston. And when I say apostate capital of the world, I mean it. We have had, well, this summer, August 1st, 2nd, 3rd, we have had more apostates, opposers, and criticizers of the Watchtower gathered in one place than ever in the history of the ex-witness world. So we really had a good time up here for the ex-Jehovah's Witness convention and all those that came up. We really appreciate you making the trek and coming up here and being with us. Well, anyways, things are moving in the right direction. We got a lot of things going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower. And what's really interesting, folks, hold on one second, just doing one thing here. Did we move this destination? Okay, no. All right, let's start here then. Yeah, I'm trying to talk and chew gum at the same time. I'm getting all kinds of messages from Facebook and YouTube, but we're going full speed ahead. And now we've been doing this, friends, for 20 years, and we've never missed a Saturday night. And, you know, I say a lot, we are here because you are here. It's like one giant therapy session where we can all come in and talk with one another. We have some of the same people who've been coming on for 20 years. We're getting a lot of new ones lately, too. A lot of new people are coming into the Six Screens. And there's a couple of reasons for it. Maybe it's because of a lot of people leaving the Watchtower right now. So they're looking for an avenue and looking for different ways to really solidify their feeling that the Watchtower is wrong. That's what we all did, right? When we first started hearing how wrong and bad the Watchtower was, we couldn't get enough of it. I mean, I used to stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning calling friends that got out of the Watchtower. We all couldn't believe it. You probably did the same thing. So right now we have a lot of people leaving and they can't get enough of this. So what they do is they come in here to the Six Screens, and it's a little different. Six Screens are a little different, and it's different in the sense that people can talk in real time. You can call up and talk. And, you know, I've often said that, you know, we have more than just an audience viewing our YouTube channel here, and our Facebook channel. This is a community that people come in here every week. And there's hundreds of people. In fact, when we put it up, there's hundreds of people that come in live and watch the program. But also when it goes up, some of our views, I mean, we've got some of our videos have hit close to 1 million viewers. So people, they like hearing what people have to say. Not just me sitting here bloviating all night, but we bring people on. They say different things, and people look forward to that. So if you can muster up the courage, and you can come on tonight, maybe for the first time, by all means do it. You see the telephone number. It's right on the bottom of the YouTube and Facebook screen. So if you can do it and the coast is clear, by all means come in, and we'd love to have you be with us here on the Six Screens. Well, let's take a look and see what's going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower, as we say. I wanted to bring something up that I got thinking about this week. Now, you know, I'm a businessman. I have my own business. I have a sign company up here in Massachusetts. And this week, I was doing business with a pet shop. And anyways, I recognized the woman that was the manager of the pet shop. And I couldn't quite remember who she was, but she didn't really say anything. And I've been in this pet shop a few times dealing with the owner, and the manager was there when I always say hello to me. So she said to me this time, Mr. Farron, how are things at the Kingdom Hall? I said, Kingdom Hall? I said, what makes you say that? Do you know me as one of Jehovah's Witnesses? She said, oh, yeah, I'm Jenna. Remember me? I said, oh, my goodness. I said, let me just think now. Boy, it looks so familiar, but I haven't seen this woman for about 25 years. So she says, well, she said, so are you still one of Jehovah's Witnesses? I said, no, I'm not. I says, oh, no, no. Satan kicked me out of his organization back in 2005 for apostasy. And I said, do you still go to the meetings? And she says, oh, no, no. I kind of faded away myself. She had some areas, she had some thoughts about the pedophilia, and evidently something happened to her or somebody in her family. So she's aware of it all. And I told her I do a radio program every Saturday night. She might even be listening in now. I don't know. But anyways, the reason why I bring her up, her name was Jenna, and I can still remember her now. Of course, 25 years ago, it's, people change a little bit, right? So anyway, she was telling me about this family that went to the Kingdom Hall, and she said, "Did you hear about the suicide? The young witness grandson committed suicide." I says, "He did?" I says, "I know they had another suicide in the family." And so she says, "Oh yeah, the young grandson, he committed suicide." And then I said, "Well, I know their son committed suicide because he used to chum around with my son." So here they had two members of this so-called witness family that committed suicide. And then also, you may remember, going back probably 10, well, let's say 10 years ago, 11 years ago, we did have a man. I was away and I was out in Chicago. And when I came home to my house, there was a note on my door, scotch taped to my door. And what the note said, it was from a person I knew in the same family. And he said that he is now an apostate. He says he doesn't know who else to talk to. He's homeless. He was going to jump off the Mystic River Bridge here in Boston. He was going to commit suicide. And so he came and he stayed with me for a while. But the point I wanted to make on this, the Jehovah's Witnesses claim to be the happiest people on the planet. Now, this is one family that had two suicides, an attempted suicide. The mother, I won't call her a full-fledged alcoholic, but I know there was a problem with wine, and I know that as a fact. But the point is, I'm not going to name no names here tonight, but I just wanted to bring up how is it that you have all these suicides? We hear about it all the time in the ex-witness community of witnesses committing suicide. Now, this man who was a former elder in the congregation who was going to jump off the Mystic River Bridge in Boston, he came and he lived with me for a few months. And he said that when he was disfellowshipped, he was so distraught. His wife wouldn't talk to him. His family wouldn't talk to him. He was all set to die. He said, I couldn't take it, Rick. I really couldn't take it. So, this idea that the Watchtower has the happiest families, the most peace-loving people on the planet, I have to call foul on that one. That is just a misnomer. They're probably not probably. Well, I'd say probably some of the worst families in the world are in the Watchtower. Now, I'm not going to make a blanket statement here and say that all witnesses are ready to commit suicide. But I tell you what, after doing this program for 20 years, I've heard a lot. I have heard a lot about people committing suicide, friends, right locally here too, other congregations around here. Another one I know of where a young man committed suicide. So this is it's not unusual. Well, what I'm saying here isn't like, oh, come on, Rick, you're exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating. Yeah, it's really filled with all kinds of problems. The thing is, we just never saw it. When you were Jehovah's Witness, did you see it? See, this was all hidden. We had no clue that this was all going on. Did you realize you were probably sitting next to a pedophile in the Kingdom Hall? Did you realize that? I didn't. I didn't know one pedophile from another. I didn't even know what the word pedophile meant for many years. But I certainly know now, and the Watchtower is filled with them. So what I wanted to talk about here is the Watchtower. The Watchtower, as I'm speaking here right now, is in free fall. It's hemorrhaging members. Elders are leaving. The Watchtower is doing everything they can to keep people in. They're trying to do what they can to get new recruits. And then I came across an article, it's just this month, early December, December 4th, in the New York Times. And it kind of got me thinking a lot. And the New York Times article, the headline was Church Pews Full. In other words, the churches, Catholicism, many Protestant churches, according to the New York Times, December 4th, are really going gangbusters. More and more young ones are coming into the church. And you say, well, what is that all about? And I have to really say that it's quite fascinating that this is all happening. In fact, let me just, I'll read you a little part of the article. Across the U.S., Orthodox church pews are overflowing with energetic newcomers drawn to what they describe as a more demanding, even difficult practice of Christianity. Yeah, it's actually, they find it demanding and difficult, but they want to come and hear what has to be said. This has never been seen, one priest said. This is new ground for everyone. Well, there's a long article, but it talks about the new converts going to church. Did you know that? I would think that many of the churches are falling apart, and some are. But what's the first thing that popped in your mind when I brought this up? I mean, what popped into my mind is the fact that what do you think the governing body is going to do with a headline like this? Really, this could really be a game changer for the Watchtower. How does this factor into the end times prophecies of the Watchtower? I'll better yet, how are they going to spin this? How are you going to look at Babylon the Great, as we all been taught in the Watchtower, is supposedly going to come down, in the last days against religion and really identify them for who they are. Well, this can't be happening if the churches are growing and the pews are being filled. So I'm wondering, how is the Watchtower going to do this? How are they going to spin it? I mean, they're doing everything they can to get new recruits. They're softening the blow, the rules, so to speak. You can now do things you couldn't do before. They're trying to get new recruits and wondering why so many are leaving. On the other hand, the churches of at least America, that's what the New York Times article was focusing on. At least in America, the church pews are being filled. But, really, folks, how damaging is the Watchtower? How dare them even suggest to the world that they are the only true religion? How dare them say that in 1919, Jesus looked at all the religions of the world? He looked them all over. He looked at the Catholics. He looked at the Protestants. He looked at all the spiritual groups that were around the world. And of all the groups that were out there, lo and behold, he picks the Watchtower, Jehovah's Witnesses, as the true religion. That is absolutely baloney. But, we all believed it. Now, this is why it brings me to my next thought. We all believed it. Somehow we were brainwashed. Somehow it was stinking thinking from the Watchtower. We let them rent space in our head. And that's why a prominent neurologist, I'm going to refrain from using his name, okay, but a prominent neurologist talked a little bit about the Jehovah's Witnesses. And I wanted to share this with you. It was some information that I received. And but I want to share with you this information on what a neurologist, do you know what a neurologist is? Well, a neurologist, for the most part, if you have issues with your brain, if you're suffering from seizures, or if you have Alzheimer's, or even a stroke, you see a neurologist. A neurologist can kind of let you know what's going on in your head. Now, they're not psychologists, but sometimes there's a thin line between neurology and psychology. I'm not saying they're interrelated, but they can be at times. So I want you to listen to this. Just listen. No, just sit down, listen to what I'm going to say, because this is going to shock you. All right? Everyone just sit down, please listen. What this neurologist said is from 7 to 30 years, 7 to 30 years it takes to rewire your brain. In other words, when you're in a nasty cult, like the Jehovah's Witness cult, and there's others out there too. I don't know too many more nasty than Jehovah's Witnesses, but it takes 7 to 30 years to rewire your brain. I did not know that, but I want to thank the person who gave me this information. Now, what is being said here by the neurologist is the actual brain is an organ. And when the brain is subjected to brainwashing techniques, such as what we all were when we were in the Watchtower, it actually changes the brain organically. Do you know what I'm talking about here? Changes the brain organically. Something goes on in your head that actually rewires your brain organically, internally. It is changed. And friends, it takes a lot of hard work and years to get all of this garbage, all of this false teachings, all of the foolishness out of our head. Do we all believe this? Do you believe it takes that long? 7 to 30 years? Well, I mean, I've been trying to deprogram myself. I think I'm doing pretty good at it. I really do. I think the 6 screens and all of you people have been helping me too. But I still have some residual garbage left in my head after being out for 20 years. There's probably people listening to this program that could have been out for maybe more than 20 years. And you're still having some of this residual stuff. Some of this crap, you could say, comes up from time to time. And I say, well, that's Watchtower thinking. So I'm suggesting here tonight that all of us immediately start deprogramming. Well, where do we start? I mean, I haven't written books on this. I'm not an expert on it. I'm just going on the information that a person gave me about a neurologist. So what I wanted to bring up here is where do you start deprogramming? Well, in a way, I'm doing it without realizing, this is the first year. Now, I've been out for 20 years, and this is the first year that I put some Christmas lights on the house. Yeah, I put some Christmas lights on the house. Now, it's not the most lit up house in the neighborhood, but it looks pretty good. It's just something that it took me a while to do that. I don't think I could have done it the first couple of years I left the Watchtower. So that's kind of like deprogramming, right? Maybe you're starting to feel the same way around Christmas. Now, if you just got out, like my wife Susan and I, when we first got out, when we first got married, we had we kind of were trying to get into the spirit, but the Watchtower deprogrammed us so much. Oh, Christmas is pagan. Oh, don't celebrate it. It's a holiday of the devil. And then all of the stuff that they would say, it's very hard to get that stuff out of your head. So you got to start doing the opposite. You got to start doing the opposite of what the Watchtower programmed into us. So when it comes to Christmas and birthdays, Thanksgiving, when it comes to toasting now, we can toast. You want to start thinking in terms of what can I do the opposite? I'm going to do, if they say something not to do, I'm going to do it. Now, I'm not going to tell you I'm going to go to an X-rated movie, but, R-rated movies, I wouldn't go to them. I mean, I'm still not a movie freak. I really don't get into the movies that much. There's some I like, but, R-rated movies. I can remember Schindler's List. Oh, that was a good movie. They kept advertising and the trailers looked really exciting. And I can remember when I was a full-fledged witness carrying my blood card and certainly a loyal witness, I wouldn't go to an R-rated movie. And when Schindler's List came out, I wanted to see it, but I really I wouldn't, because it was R-rated. And there's so many other movies like The Matrix and others. I believe The Matrix was R too. And you wouldn't, as a witness, go to them. And, little things that they embedded in our head. So it took me a while. I mean, I don't go to R-rated movies today either, but I started watching some movies the other night on Netflix. I couldn't stand it. I really couldn't. I had to shut them off. Susan and I had to shut them off. They were too much. Every other word was F this, F that, and they were R-rated. I'd like to see what the next one was like. But anyways, these little things, an R-rated movie, or even saying good luck. Do you find yourself, even to this day, having a hard time saying to someone, "Well, good luck"? I hope it all goes well. Good luck to you. You still have kind of a hard time with that. So, but anyways, I want everyone to know that the Six Screens is been very helpful in helping people deprogram. It's been very helpful and in helping people to at least uh, come in and be involved with a community that has experienced the same problems. Not that misery life loves company, but sometimes there's more credence and credibility to that statement, right? But the Six Screens is like a giant therapy session. Many people have actually stated that, and here we can all come on and talk, and some of us get out of the watchtower pretty much unscathed. Many, they don't suffer these residual flashback trauma, so to speak. Many feel that they've completed their deprogramming. But what you want to remember is to think of the brain kind of like a computer. You can get a virus, right? And boy, when you get a virus in your computer, it can really mess it up. I mean, big time. So it's the same thing with your head. If you get a virus in your brain from some cult that put all this garbage in there, it's like a virus. And it's actually altered. This virus actually altered our brain. So it's very toxic. It's very toxic. You get this virus, the toxicity, it actually is deadly. It's deadly. I mean, we talked about the suicide people. It's deadly. You won't take blood. You could die. You're gonna go through all kinds of trauma because you're leaving your molestation and you don't want to report it to anybody. You're leaving it in Jehovah's hands. This can be very deadly. So please consider, if you're listening to the Six Screens tonight, start deprogramming. Now, you're not going to just flip it on like a switch on and off. You have to start working on it. But try little things, okay? And try considering things to rewire, celebrate a holiday, say good luck. I mean, you don't have to be a complete bad person because you left the watchtower. I'm not saying to do that. But, I'll tell you what, the little simple things. When I was a Jehovah's Witness, and I mentioned this many times before, I could not sleep in a dark room at night. I had to put the light on. Now that's because of their feelings on demons, and demons are going to jump out of the wall and attack you and all of this. So I, as a grown man, my 30s, 40s, 50s, I had to sleep with a light on. Now that I'm out of the watchtower, I love it dark. I don't like to sleep with a light on anymore. So, it's because of the watchtower embedding all of this foolishness that, demons are going to jump out at you. Well, I mean, those thoughts are gone right now. So, we all suffered some deep psychological trauma by being in the watchtower. So how about you? Do you think you're thoroughly deprogrammed? Is there a lot of residual garbage that's still left in your brain? Is the virus still alive and well? What do you think? Tell me. Go ahead, hit *6. Have you deprogrammed yourself? I'd like to know.
Hello, this is Grace from Sweden.
Yes, Grace.
Yes, I really like this topic because I feel somewhat embarrassed. Like, why can't I think properly and things? But now, as you mentioned, these 7 to 30 years, it really made me happy to think that I'm not so strange after all. And about Christmas, that's just the thing. I find it hard to get back to Christmas spirit. For like 25 years, I had this feeling like I was doing something wrong, and it's because of the watchtower. But like you said, you have to practice and talk to people. And I also wanted to bring up some things you asked me about before, because Sweden, we have roughly 10.5 million people living here. And according to the JW.org, the publishers in Sweden are 22,465. But that's just what they are saying. I'm questioning it because here's what I've been thinking lately. There are so many people dying. There's so many people dying, and I don't see as many getting baptized. But that's just my opinion. But I believe I'm right when I'm saying that there are more people dying than getting baptized. And at the same time, they are saying, oh, we are increasing. We are getting more and more Jehovah's Witnesses in. So it's just a lie. And I can see, like, people I know, they have maybe 2 children. Neither of the children are witnesses. And I can name several couples here that their children are not in Jehovah's Witness. So it's just not true. And about this money that Sweden gave Jehovah's Witness, I remember standing in my kitchen, and it was year 2021, and my heart just dropped when I got the information that now Jehovah's Witness get money from Swedish government. And I was just devastated. But now, since they don't get any more money, it's only 4 years, actually, that Jehovah's Witness got money from the Swedish government. So now, because they discriminate, they cannot get money anymore. But you have to realize they tried for many, many years to get money, and they didn't get anything until the year 2021. So we have been trying to hold them off, but they have to change some rules, I think, in order to really get them off, so to speak. And, well, I have been really thinking about what's wrong with me? Why can't I just move on? So,
well,
I
great.
wanted to say thank you very much for bringing this up, and that's all from me. Thank you.
Well, Grace, I'm glad I could bring it up. Yeah, go ahead.
Rick, it's Dick. I would just like to throw this out. When I was suffering with PTSD, and a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses are suffering with PTSD because of their involvement with the Watchtower. When I was going to professional groups of veterans, there was 8 of us around the table, and at their head was a psychologist. And everybody would talk about what gave them problems, what gave them nightmares, and would all sit around the table. And after a while, we used to meet every Wednesday, I think it was, and I heard all the stories over and over again, year after year. And I'm like, I know this guy. I know what he went through in combat. I know that his friend got killed. And I knew all this stuff. And I remember saying to this guy, just like, I'm getting sick of this because I'm hearing the same stuff over and over again. He said, Dick, every time a veteran talks about the problems that he experienced, or the things that he saw in Vietnam, every time it's a little less stressful for him. So I would say, come on 6 Screens. 6 Screens is a beautiful venue for this because you can say what you need to say get it off your chest. If you want to call up week after week after week, it's wonderful. I know I've been on 6 screens for 20 years, and every single time I go on 6 screens, I feel better. I feel better about the cult. I feel better about my divorces and all the stuff that I went through because of Jehovah's Witnesses. Yeah, I have my own failings, my own faults, but a lot of the troubles I had in life was caused by the Jehovah's Witness organization. Right now, I would say to anybody out there, if you want to have a program like me and Connie have, or Anne Marie, or anybody else, talk to Rick. And anytime you go on like week after week after week, you're going to feel better. You're going to heal faster. There's so much information out there now. You go on YouTube, and there's like 20 great channels. All this stuff is well done, really documented, makes a lot of sense. You can work up your own programs from anything on YouTube and just present it and let the audience take it and give people a chance to talk. Because talking about the trek in the Watchtower is cathartic, meaning it's going to make you feel better just to talk. So hats off to Rick and Sue for putting on 6 screens, and for Rick for doing this for 20 years. God bless him. And I guess that's all I want to say. Thank you, Rick.
Well, appreciate that, Dick. I really do. Thank you very much. Doing it, and I like what you said there, Dick, by talking about it. In fact, you say does therapy help? Does it really work getting things off your mind by talking to others about it? Of course it does. You don't want to hold the stuff inside. And by, like you say, those sessions that you went to, and you hear other people that suffer from the same thing, there's some real help there. It can help people move away from such a mind control group. And really, even my conscience to this day sometimes is overworked because of the Watchtower. They're the ones that make you with this guilty conscience all the time, right? I mean, there are times that you don't have to feel guilty. You really, really don't. I mean, you're not going to go out and rob a bank and not have any feelings about it. You wouldn't do that. But geez, I mean, they made you feel so guilty all the time. And I mean, even if, when you're out in service, and I used to, go walking around the neighborhood, and sometimes someone in the group would say, well, Brother Farron, we have to go now. I'd say, no, we got 4 or 5 more houses left, and we're not leaving till they're done. What if Armageddon came this afternoon and we didn't get to those houses? So, I mean, that's guilty conscience. That's put in there by the Watchtower. You don't need it. So I would say, listen, if you listen to the program, does the Watchtower still have you having a guilty conscience? Well, take your conscience out to lunch and shoot it. Now, I don't mean you don't want to have a conscience, but I mean, don't let garbage stay in there that's going to really make your day bad. Don't do that.
That sounds kind of There's a Bonnie Zeman book. The woman's last name is Zieman, and she's a therapist, and she's got a book for witnesses at Amazon, and she's got a workbook. I have found that workbook for your dreams and to retool your brain and everything. Get the book and the workbook and start scribbling in it, and that might help. Now, what I didn't understand about Christmas, it's almost impossible for me to feel joy at this time. The cake with the candle was easy. Saying good luck, that wasn't a problem years ago. But for some reason, you're not the only one that has this block regarding Christmas. And I've even looked at it as a pagan holiday. I've looked at it as the early Christians had it. And I've looked at everything about it. But I want to be as happy as my neighbors on this thing, and it's really difficult. So tomorrow, I think I'll put my porch light on for Hanukkah and keep it on for Christmas and see how I do. But you're not the only one. And I didn't know there were timers on Christmas lights. Things we don't know about this.
Oh, Pixie, I can't believe I've never seen more lights around Christmas than this year. Everybody's got their house lit up. This is the first time I actually put some Christmas lights, like I was telling you earlier, on our house. I really did. I never would do that before. I had a hard time, even putting a pine cone and tape to the door because of Christmas. But I mean, yeah,
Exactly.
jeez. But it's all stinking thinking. Yeah. So, is there anybody out there? How have you deprogrammed? Well, what are you doing to deprogram yourself? I mean, do you still follow some of the dictates of the Watchtower, even though you've been out for many years? What do you think? Go ahead. Let's go with the lady first. Yeah, go ahead, lady first. Yeah.
Hello, we're trying to get something.
Oh, hold on. Hold on. We got a lot of people. You got to mute yourself if you. Okay. Let's go with the lady once again. Go ahead. You're on with us.
Okay, Rick, I was going to say, I've been out of the organization 42 years, which I'm very happy about that. But it has been a work in progress, as the expression goes. I was just doing the math. For 28 years, I disassociated myself back in '83. So for 28 years, I was just busy with my life, trying to get my education and work on my careers and all that. But you're also trying to work through all of this spiritual abuse that we had from Watchtower. And anyway, I was not as successful with that as I had hoped. Well, then I found your show in October of 2011, which has been 14 years. So what I really wanted to say is that for 28 years, I just was trying to heal my soul, heal my spiritual wounds from Watchtower the best that I could, because you're basically on your own, as everybody knows. But then when I found your show in the last 14 years, it's like a Godspeed. I mean, there's people listening all around the world that can totally relate to what we all have gone through. And Rick, I can say it has honestly healed me, because it's like we're all sitting down as a family, and we're all discussing these different issues that relates to all of us. And yes, there's people in the background that are quiet, but they totally get it. They're living it as well, like we are. And it's just been incredibly healing. Now, the Christmas, oh yeah, let me tell you about the Christmas. I was not born a JW. I was born a Catholic. And I loved Christmas when I was a kid. I just loved the lights. I love the happiness. It's like family came together. Mom would have a nice Christmas dinner, even Thanksgiving. It was the time the family got together. And when I became a witness, I studied at 16, got baptized at 17, and then everything changed. And I was the only one in my whole family that became a baptized witness. So I was the ugly duckling, you might sort of say. So that was very difficult. But then when I left the organization and I was 28, I thought, oh, well, now I can start picking up where I left off. But Rick, it did. It really rent space in my head. And the joy of Christmas was totally gone, right? And it was like, oh my gosh, I have the freedom to be able to enjoy Christmas, but I just can't find that excitement anymore. And then I came to the realization it must be just for children, right? Christmas must just be for children and little ones, for them to really enjoy. But I have to tell you, as I've gotten older, and now I'm 70, I do love Christmas, and I don't worry about the paganism. I don't worry about any of that, because I do not celebrate Christmas based on what Watchtower taught. Okay. So, I'm able to, every year I buy a little bit more of Christmas decorations for inside the house. I love the nutcrackers. Oh my gosh.
It's full of Christmas.
It is full of Christmas stuff. I put up the Christmas decorations yesterday, and, it makes you happy. And Rich is out of the hospital. He was in the hospital for 9 days. He was in SNF for 12 days. That was 3 weeks right there. But the whole thing was really 2 months. So, we're celebrating. We're celebrating Thanksgiving. We're celebrating Christmas. We're celebrating New Year's. And, it doesn't really matter for me, Rick, about presents. That's not the important thing. It really comes down to spending the time with the people that you really love that are priceless. That, to me, is what Christmas is all about. And Watchtower likes to put a big squelch on everybody's happiness and joy. And this is the time of the year when people and friends, and whether you have family or don't, many of us don't have family. This is the time to be happy and enjoy life and just be grateful for everything that you have. So that's what I've done, Rick, with regards to Christmas. And I just want to send my love to everybody and thank everyone, and especially you, Rick and Susan, for the show, because each and every week you are helping so many people to heal from the spiritual abuse of Watchtower. So we love you very much, and thank you, Rick.
Amen to that.
Well, that's a good thought you expressed there, Constance. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, who else wants to speak up? We got some other. All right. All right. Who else wants to speak up? Go ahead. You're on with us. Hold on.
This is Tammy. I just wanted to say this program's been wonderful. I got a phone call from an ex-JW as well. Well, really, we're both still, I guess, technically baptized as one, but neither one of us believe it. And I don't attend, and I know she doesn't either, but she called. She said, Barbara's on. I was like, okay, because I tried to go back over there, and I found out real quick that something was way off. And the more I have found out through your show and all the different people that talk on here and give their stories, their thoughts, their opinions, I don't feel so much pain coming from my experience of the JW. I do question, now that I have a terminal illness, I question, is the whole thing, just a total big lie? Because it's like every time you turn around, it's something different, right? And form the ghost to so many different extremes like they have the Watchtower in the past few years alone, just say since COVID. I mean, it's been terrible. But I paid attention to earlier when Carrie and Barbara were talking, and then just now the conversation going towards us deprogramming ourselves. I wonder at the age of 58 and facing terminal illness that will I ever have that accomplished? I find peace when I listen to modern day Christian music. I find peace when I plug in that Christmas tree, if you want to call it that. It's a bare tree that I keep constant year round. My daughter was killed back some years ago, and ever since then, I've had a tree. And when I light it up, and when October, I don't know why, I go through August, and then September, and by October, I got Christmas music playing. And by the time it's Christmas, I'm so sick of hearing the same damn Christmas songs. I'm like, what is wrong with me? I just don't understand. But you guys are amazing, and I appreciate every comment and everybody who takes the time to speak.
Well, thank you.
And thank you, Rick.
Well, thank you, sister, for saying that, because that's why I bring. Hold on, we got someone coming on here. We got to hold on 1 second. All right, okay. Susan, did you want to say something? Okay, hold on 1 second. Susan, you were okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You're on now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yep, go ahead.
Okay. Well, one of the suggestions I was looking at Barbara made tonight was getting involved. You know, finding something that you can help other people with, just like you're helping other people with the 6 screens. You know, every week by coming on and just participating, just be around other people and getting involved. I think it's so important. And I enjoy myself listening to all the programs, and sometimes I re-listen to some of the programs. Rick re-listens to some of them too. So we need this too. So it's important to be involved on Saturday night, and if you can, helping other people.
Well, thank you, Susan. And no doubt, I mean, like the lady that just came on earlier, I didn't get her name, but we certainly appreciate her coming on and voicing her thoughts. And it's something that I've always said, you know, if I just sat here all night long exposing the Watchtower, it wouldn't have the same effect. But by having different people speak up, you don't realize how that is helping people like the lady that was just on earlier. She hears all of these people. We all can't be wrong, right? I mean, really, you can't have all these people.
Absolutely.
So we all have a bone to pick with this evil organization, and it's always nice to hear when people say that, because I tell you all the time, when you guys speak up, it makes all the difference in the world. And you know, when you stop and really think about it, uh, I've said it a million times. You heard it even here tonight. You know, I put YouTube videos out before, and they basically we get an audience. But on the 6 screens, JW World News, this is a community. Our Saturday night program is a community. And it really amazes me that people, this many people come in. You know, we run as high as, 300, over 300 people some nights listening in live. And I mean, that's like, it's not like CBS News, but I mean, that's pretty good to have that many people coming in and talking and listening. And a lot of these people are the same people. They come in every week. And not only do they find it encouraging and enlightening and helping them to move away and deprogram themselves, but, we find it entertaining too. We find it very entertaining when people come on and share their stories with us. It really makes a well-rounded community. And I'm very proud of all you people for the jobs that you do. Those that have programs on the 6 screens and those that call in. We're all one machine here, and our whole goal is to help people leave the Watchtower. And I'm a Christian man, and I would love to have everyone too become a Christian, but I can't wave a magic wand on that. We don't talk about the Bible, or we don't get into theology on Saturday nights. But on Sunday, if theology is your thing and you want to learn more about false prophecy and you want to learn more about the falsehoods of the Watchtower teaching their doctrine, well, come in tomorrow. We have a program starting at 1 o'clock, Knowing God After Leaving the Watchtower. Then we do our JW World News. We have a program on ex-Jehovah's Witnesses come in and share their stories of being in the Watchtower. And we have a man that actually speaks up and answers any Bible question you have. His name is Jay Hess. So join us tomorrow, beginning at 1 o'clock right here on the 6 Screens Telenetwork. Okay, let's take a look here. I got something today, and it was going to be my top story tonight, but I didn't make it that. But it's nonetheless, it's a powerful story. Maine, the state of Maine, Maine's High Court is reviewing a custody order barring a mother from church and Bible teachings based on alleged psychological harm. Okay. When I saw that headline, I thought it was Jehovah's Witness woman that was being barred from going to the Kingdom Hall, but it wasn't that. It was just a person that was going to a certain church that was teaching some pretty difficult subjects and causing psychological harm. Now, the ruling, this is what I was thinking, if this can get a ruling of against this woman who's got children and evidently teaching the children some of the things she's learning in her church, and the court can come back and say, no, we're going to stop you from going to church because what you're teaching your children is wrong. Now, if this could start or set a national precedent. Now, that's what I was hoping could happen. And the precedent could be on parental religious rights and how courts weigh them in the best interest of children. So I got thinking, the Watchtower, it reminds me of this publication they came out with in 1987, and it's called Preparing for Child Custody. Now, that is a Watchtower publication. And if you're going through a divorce, suppose you're a woman and you're a staunch Jehovah's Witness, and your husband is not. So you're going to get a divorce, and he wants the children, but you want the children because you want to raise them, the woman that is, as a Jehovah's Witness. So the woman's going to have a defense when she goes into court. The husband's going to say, I want the children. And the woman's going to say, no, I want the children. But if the judge finds out that she's a Jehovah's Witness, it could be a black mark on the woman. And I'll tell you why. Don't think the court systems don't know the dangers of a parent raising their children as one of Jehovah's Witnesses. First of all, no blood, right? The child could die. Second of all, it could be trauma, religious trauma syndrome with the teachings of Armageddon. So there's a lot of things going on in these court cases. So the Watchtower actually has an actual publication that they encourage Jehovah's Witnesses going through a divorce to read, and it can help them and prepare them to be able to get child custody. So I got thinking, I'm going to show you a picture here. Let me show you a picture. See if I can't get this picture up. And it got me thinking of certain things. Let me see where the picture is. See if I can't find the picture. Just give me I got the picture. Give me a second here. I'm going to put a picture up on the screen. And I want you just to think, well, what's the first thing that pops in your mind? So let me put the picture up there. And now we talk about trauma for children. Let me put this up right here so you can see it. Now, what's the first thing that pops into your mind? Well, look at that picture. That's a picture right there of Armageddon. And you see the city burning up behind those people. They're running. They're all nerved up. They're all trying to get away from harm's way. Is that a good picture? I mean, would if you were trying to get child custody, would you bring that picture in of a Watchtower publication and show that to the judge? I mean, you'd have a hole in your head if you did. I mean, looking at that picture, there's no positive aspects of Armageddon. There is none. As a matter of fact, young people who look at this, it could actually psychologically disturb them. That some people have come onto this program in the last 20 years and have mentioned how some of the graphics in the Watchtower publications have given them nightmares. They can't sleep. So I don't see anything positive, but see what the court is looking for is positive aspects of Armageddon. So even in that book on preparing for child custody that the Watchtower put out, I was looking through it, and there's actually a section in there that gives you an opportunity to prepare the court or the judge on the fact that there's positive aspects to Armageddon. Now, can you think of anything positive about Armageddon? Well, in the book, it talks about how, Armageddon's coming, and it's going to remove all the wickedness from the world. They're very soft in how they say it. They're not going to say Jehovah's going to kill everybody, but they say that, it's going to get rid of wickedness, and it's going to present a better situation for mankind where they can live with the panda bears and the lions and the tigers and all of that. So they present this positive view. But looking at a picture like you see up there right now, do you see anything positive about that picture of Armageddon? And then now let's take that one down, and I'm going to put another one up. Now, that picture goes back, I believe that was back in the late 70s, early 80s. But here's another picture I'm going to put up. Recognize that guy? That's Tony Morris. Now, that was some people thought that this particular video, it's just a still picture here, but there were some people that actually thought that this particular video that governing body member Tony Morris had on JW Broadcasting was a reason that he had to leave. I don't think that was, but I'll give you a little rundown on what this is all about. It shows Tony Morris lighting a match. And do you remember? In the video, he said, now, do you know those that don't follow Jehovah? And he mentioned the word apostates. Well, that'd be me, probably you. We're all known as apostates, right? He says, do you know what's going to happen to apostates at Armageddon? And so he lit the match, and then he blew it out, up in smoke. Now, just imagine you're a young kid, okay? Your mother's a staunch, loyal Jehovah's Witness. Your father doesn't want to be a Jehovah's Witness. He's kind of not liking being a Jehovah's Witness. And so the mother's teaching the child really that, maybe daddy is bad. And then when Tony Morris comes on and the young child sees Tony Morris saying this is what happens to apostates, the young child thinking this is his father, he's going to go up in smoke. He's going to die at Armageddon. Now, can that make a young child feel good? Absolutely not. There's no positive aspects to Armageddon. The witnesses can concoct any story they want, but it's just going to create a lot of problems, psychological problems for young kids. So I want to bring that up tonight because I'll tell you what, the Watchtower really should be ashamed of themselves. In fact, there was even another one. I don't have the clip to show you, but remember when Stephen Lett, do you remember when he said that babies are enemies of God? Do you remember that? Oh, we talked about it on the 6 screens. I couldn't believe it, to be quite frank. And little babies are enemy of God. And you know what happened, and we mentioned it here on our newscast. After Stephen Lett said that, was about a week or so after, there was a woman, a Jehovah's Witness woman with mental issues. And when she heard that, she stabbed her kids. She stabbed her child 3 days after that announcement. And we brought that up. So it was a Jehovah's Witness woman. She hears Stephen Lett say that, little babies are enemies of God. And she stabs her little child. So you see what I'm talking about here? This is psychological damage that the Watchtower is doing to people. And yet, when you stop and think about it, there's nothing positive to really talk about when it comes to Armageddon. When it talks about psychological trauma being put on children in the Watchtower. So hopefully this court in Maine will see that some of these church teachings can be very harmful. They can create all types of bad effects, bad relations with your family. They can cause all kinds of trauma, even to the point, as we just told you about, a woman stabbing her child. So that's just facts. I'm just giving the facts. That's all I'm doing. So I wanted to share those thoughts with you. And another thing too, I wanted to bring up tonight, and I'm getting a lot of information that comes into the 6 screens, and a lot of the information lately is from elders.
Hi, Rick.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt your show. I just wanted to alert your attention to a person in the chat called Long Hair T is being quite annoying. He or she's being quite annoying. And I know you asked me to keep an eye on things, and if anyone turns up being a troll in the chat, to just alert you before you move on to the next section.
Yeah. In fact, let's get rid of them right now. Okay.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to ban the user and delete all their comments. Thank you, Maverick. Thank you for bringing that. Yeah. These. Yeah, these are Watchtower operatives. They try to get into our phone calls, and they also try to get into our chat room. So thank you, Maverick, for doing that. Hey, let's hear from Calgary, Canada. Calgary, Canada.
Hi, Rick. Yeah, hi, Rick. You got the demons cleared up there that are trying to come in on the phone and all that? Got them shut down?
Got them shut down, yep.
Okay, good. Well, hello, and haven't talked to you for a while. I just thought I was kind of listening while I was doing some work on my furnace here tonight. It's really cold up here the last few days, and one of my furnaces was going on the fritz, so I was working on it while I was listening. But I did want to talk about a couple of things that you brought up. If you got a minute for me, minute
Sure.
or two.
Absolutely.
You had mentioned earlier. Well, actually, when Candace came on, we were talking about about Christmas and stuff, and I started wondering. I wonder how Candace has dealt, because I knew from years ago she said that she was raised as a Catholic. And of course, somebody like me, I was raised in just a normal home where we had Christmas and all that. And it was, as the song says, the most wonderful time of the year for a kid. And even as an adult, I think my parents and all my aunts and uncles, it was the best time of the year for them as well. Now, if you're raised as a witness like you are, you've never experienced that feeling. It is unlike any other feeling in the entire world. I've never, even when I was a happy Jehovah's Witness and believed everything and everything was going fine, I never ever experienced that particular type of special happiness that Christmas seems to be able to engender for people. I have to admit, like Candace, well, for one thing, you have to get Christmas out of you if you're a convert. You have to somehow try and get it out of you. So you spend a lot of time reading every Watchtower article on Christmas. See if you can convince yourself that it really is bad. Eventually, if you work hard enough, you can convince yourself that it's bad. And then when you leave, it does take a long time to re-educate yourself, but it's easier for us that we had it when we were children, up until we were, I was about the same age as Candace when I converted. Same thing. 18 years old, in 1970. So anyway, the interesting thing about that is it does take a long time it's kind of like you've been dipped in an inkwell when you're a witness, and they've tinctured you with all kinds of stuff. Now, every church does that, so I'm not saying that, if you're going to join a church, I guess you're going to try and imbibe their doctrine. But the problem here is that everything is designed to cut you off from your family. And it does create this, that's a mental illness, to not be in love with your family. That's a spiritual illness, to not be in love and close to your family. It's a type of spiritual sickness, and Jehovah's Witnesses are masters.
I'm sorry.
I said I think it's abuse.
It is a type of abuse. I was going to say, is this Pixie?
It's Pixie.
Yeah, I was going to say, Pixie, I heard you talking earlier. You might try one year putting up a small Christmas tree. I don't know if you have. Have you ever tried putting up a Christmas tree?
Today, I just can't do it. I'm allergic to the real trees. I thought about getting a pink tree. I looked at tablecloths today. Now, I do little towns. So when I looked at pictures of Quebec, I understand that because my little town was like that. So I get very excited about decorated little towns in real and in miniature. I get that. But so much of what is a memory for you is still a block for me. I had wonderful dinners at home. I had wonderful school events that I participated in. But some of the stuff that people have, I miss that. That's not coming back.
Yeah. Well, I understand that. And I was just going to make a suggestion that maybe you might try doing a tree one year. If you really are allergic to them or their smell, okay, I'm kind of wondering if that's not a bit of watchtowerism still.
Oh, no, I was in the gallery, at an art gallery at age 40, and my nose started to run, and I was enjoying myself that day, and I thought, oh, I didn't know I was allergic to decking the halls.
Okay. Well, maybe try an artificial one or something. Of course, a lot of that, like when we were kids, it was a big event in our family. We would, Dad would bring home a tree from, a neighborhood lot somewhere. He'd go pick out one, or sometimes one of us kids would go with him, or Mom and Dad would do it together. And then we would mount that tree in a special container that held it upright and everything, and we watered it and everything. And then we started decorating it. And it was the most wonderful experience as a kid to do that, make that tree all beautiful. And then at night in our house, after everything was shut down, I'm just reminiscing here. Everything in the house would be dark except the Christmas tree in the living room, and it was so beautiful. As a little kid, you'd be in your pajamas, and you might sneak upstairs just to stare at it for a few minutes before you went to sleep. So anyway,
I understand what you're saying. I went with a neighbor one time, and they bought a tree for their home, but for the born-ins, that whole paragraph that you have, the born-ins do not have that paragraph. And my parents were very liberal as witnesses. We did have a fancy dinner. We had lots of fancy dinners with beautiful things and beautiful silverware and things. We had dinners. So I'll probably have a Downton Abbey Christmas dinner. I'll dress and put the china on the table.
Do that. Why don't you do that? Yeah. So I was going to say, Candace, if you're there, are you still listening, Candace? I'd like to say hello to you if you're there.
Rick?
Candace? Oh, it sounds like somebody else wants to talk, Rick.
I think
so I'll just back off.
I think you mean Connie.
Yes, I do. Sorry, Connie. When Rick brought this Christmas thing up, I was thinking, it got me thinking about you because our experience is quite similar. You were raised a Catholic, I was raised an Anglican, but our home lives would have been very similar as to, the family doing Christmas and the cousins coming over and all of that, and just all the enjoyment of that. And yet Rick was saying, are you having trouble getting it out of your system? It's still hard for me to really, really get crazy about it like I was when I was, before I was witness. But as far as going, like, for example, last Christmas Eve, my son and I went to a Latin midnight mass in Calgary, and it was really lovely. The whole church was full of all kinds of young people with their young families. It was quite a nice experience. And So I'm fine with all that, and I enjoy it very much. So I'm glad to hear that you're starting to decorate your home a little bit, and start to get into it a little bit more. That's nice to hear. That's nice to hear.
Well, thank you. I'm sure.
Sorry again, that chap is back again.
He's,
Changed his name.
what name is he?
He's
What name is he going by now?
He's long hair C2. Very clever. Very inventive.
All right. All right. We'll do it again. Yeah. Just keep me posted.
So,
Yeah.
there was one other thing that I do want to
Yeah.
mention when you were talking about this, getting this out of your system. One of the things that took me quite a while, but I'm pretty well completely out of this now, was this penchant for trying to find the apocalypse coming soon. A lot of people in a lot of religions, it comes and goes. I'm even seeing it in Catholicism a little bit right now. Some of them, especially before Pope Francis died, a lot of them thought that the apocalypse must be coming because he was in the minds of many conservative Catholics, a heretic pope. But anyway, the point is that it does seem to be, as human beings, we have a penchant for wanting to see some great epochal change happen, some big event to fix things. And of course, the Jehovah's Witnesses have been just almost the worst as far as doing this date setting. There's others that have done it too, but they've been probably the worst. And those of us who were witnesses back in 1975 know this all too well, how completely immersed we were in the idea that 6,000 years was ending in October of 1975, and that was it. And it takes a while to get that out of you. It takes a while to get that, seeing every news item and seeing bad things in the world. I go on a few other types of calls and listen to people, and a lot of ex-witnesses even still are way into this business that we're right on the brink of some type of apocalypse, some type of Armageddon. I have very little belief in that at all now. I mostly ignore it. It seems like people just go on and on and on about it, and every little trinket of news that they hear is supportive of it. But it's been going on like this forever. So anyway, that's been my experience, and I do think it takes a lot of time to move yourself away from that, and you do have to gather around you the facts that are the opposing facts to what may be bothering you. And I'll just give you one last little trinket of information here. This business about good luck. The passage of scripture that they used on us for that was the one in Isaiah where it says, they prepare a table for the God of good luck. It's in Isaiah 59 or something like that, somewhere in there. The Hebrew word there is, what it actually says is, they prepare a table for Gad, G-A-D, Gad. And the word in Hebrew means just like what we use in English, lucky. And guess what? Jacob named one of his 12 sons, Gad, lucky. And also one of the most famous of the Hebrew prophets was named Gad as well. So the Watchtower was teaching nonsense to us. That word's fine. That word is fine. From the scriptures themselves. Okay, and Merry Christmas to anybody that's celebrating it. I hope you have a good time. And
Merry Christmas.
Thanks for letting me talk.
Well, thank you.
I enjoyed your program tonight.
Well, thank you, Brian. Yeah, go ahead. You're on with us. Go ahead.
Hey, Rick, this is Jesse in Yuma. That was a great call. great information, especially about the GAD. Hey, I just want to tell you, on Christmas, staying on the subject of Christmas, I celebrated Christmas in 1969 and 70 with my whole family. I was 1 and 2 years old, and my little brother Gilbert never celebrated Christmas. So I was 3 years older than Gilbert, but I celebrated Christmas, and it stuck with me the rest of my life. Every day of my life, I loved Christmas. I loved everything about Christmas. And I think the gentleman before us from Calgary, he talked a little bit about that, and I think Pixie talked a little bit about it, but it stayed. And so those two, so when you're a baby, even a baby, the Christmas can affect your heart. Well, it did on mine. I wouldn't say anybody else, just what happened to me. But I think that Christmas now is more important than ever before in American history, because Christmas is under so much attack, and everything is like a vacuum. If we get rid of Christmas here, it does become a vacuum. We're seeing it with our own eyes, the rise of Islam, the rise of atheism. And America is not as fun when you get rid of Christmas. You know, it's always in reverse. The enemies of Christmas will tell us that the Christians are evil, the Christians want to, but if you look at the world around us, it's really the opposite. You know, like for instance, the Jehovah's Witnesses, they ought to thank God that the Christians are such beautiful people, because the Jehovah's Witnesses are always calling them sons of Satan. In any other country, you'd get killed for doing stuff like that. So I really think the Christians are a beautiful people. If we get rid of the traditions of Christmas here in America, it will leave a giant, ugly, satanic vacuum. And we're starting to see that in different cities and different towns with the worship of Satan and the getting rid of the 10 Commandments. And then what happens? Well, the Satan worshipers pop up. It's not a coincidence. It is a vacuum. So I think Christmas now is more important, in my opinion, than ever before.
Well, I'll tell you what, you got me thinking on that, Jesse, because I'll tell you what, I'm noticing so many people getting into the spirit this year. I've never witnessed this. I mean, just in my little neighborhood here, the lights, I've never seen so many Christmas lights being put up. And people, and it's always been this way around this time of year, people become a little more gentle, a little calmer, so to speak. They let you go when you're trying to get out with your car somewhere. So maybe we are seeing a shift here. But
hopefully, because the forces aligned against Christmas are powerful forces. We see them in school boards. We see them in the news all the time. And the thing about the Christians is that we're real silent. American conservative Christians, whatever you want to call us, we're real quiet. We don't go protest and burn down the streets and burn down New Jersey or burn down Washington. We're not doing that. We just light up a little Christmas tree, and we would have family over for some Christmas goose or whatever you have, some tamales if you're Mexican American. But we don't make the noise that the Christmas haters make. They're very noisy people.
Well, always good to hear from you, Jesse. Well, thank you for coming in. Okay. Always good to hear from you.
Merry Christmas. That was the calls you had before us. I want to wish them a Merry Christmas too.
Well, thank you. Same to you, Jesse. Well, that's Jesse out in Yuma, Arizona.
Thank you, Jesse. I have some tamale wrappers. I might learn to make them. That sounds good.
Well, I'm sure he knows how to make them, Pixie. In fact,
I got the recipe here, and I got the corn thing. That would be delicious.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, tamales, I don't know if I ever had one. I asked Susan. Susan, my wife, she knows what they are. She lived in Mexico. But we had a man years ago, as a matter of fact, that's been on the 6 screens, and he actually had a tamale business. He actually made tamales. That was his business, yeah. So that was interesting. Well, let's see what else is going. Go ahead, yep.
I realized that the witnesses still had me running space. They were still running space in my head when some college friends the other day mentioned to me this NASA report that an asteroid could hit the Earth. It could actually be a disaster. And I said, good.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's hear what Matthew has to say coming in from South Africa. Go ahead, Matthew. Go ahead, Matthew.
Hello, Rick.
Hello, Matthew.
Everybody. And Okay, I'm going to take your advice, Rick. Merry Christmas and good luck, because I think we do need to make the psychological changes and try things. So I liked your idea of you deciding to put some lights up and make a few changes just to rewire the brain more than anything.
Yeah, well, that's a step in the right direction. And there's so many things that we have residual feeling from the Watchtower, Matthew, that's still stuck there. We got to get them out.
I saw something that I liked. You know, it's a little bit like Pixie says, you know, to sort of suddenly dive into something that you haven't had an enjoyment about. I think about a Christmas that we were involved in as a family back in 1979. That's how long ago it was. But I saw something you might think is a bit silly or something like that, but it's Christmas lights. There was a Star Wars setup. You know, anybody who's familiar with that, and it was a life-size robot, R2D2. It's a character from Star Wars, and it's in Home Depot, and it's sold as Christmas lights. And I looked at this thing. It's animatronic, and it's not very expensive, but it's something that appeals to my nature because it's science fiction. And I looked at that and I thought, well, you know what? I could be interested in that, and maybe there's various segues that can appeal to persons just to maybe reconnect more sociably with that good feeling. I think that's what it is. It's pursuing the good feeling that we were often denied, or the joy that we were denied. And if there is some sort of inkling where we can pursue an interest, maybe that's the segue or the way into it, to reconditioning ourselves to be able to connect with society a bit more, which was the opposite of what we did as in the JW culture. And I don't know if that makes sense, Rick.
Well, it does. Yeah, sometimes we have to do the opposite. We have to do the opposite. Well, thank you for feeling and giving your thoughts on this, Matthew. It's always good to hear from you, and thank you for coming on and being with us tonight. Thank you. Let's go over to, let's see, we got another caller coming in here. Let's go with 925. 925, you're on with us.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Great, Rick. Yeah, I saw the first part set up on this subject, so I don't know if anybody brought it up, but the channel JW Diaries recently, Justin, who hosts that, he does videos.
Yeah.
He just did a very, very well done video and described the systematic entry, the poison pill, and how they get it into your head. And one of the best parts of it was how he explained they set up filters. And the filters are everything outside is bad and evil. And if you accept that and you get that tenet stuck in your head, now they are the entry. You know, they're okay. Everything they say is clean. So they do a number of what you might call pillars of brainwashing, and then they proceed. You're just sitting there with your mouth open at the meetings, and they're pouring into your head. So it's important to really understand what you're talking about. This deconstruction thing is very important. I've been out for, I started waking up around 2014. And so that's after 40 plus years, you know. So I can see that process, but I had an identity. I wasn't raised in the religion, so I had an identity, and I'm really working through a lot of issues. Like, first of all, everything's back on the table spiritually, everything, and I'm not the least bit concerned about what they used to build guilt with at all. And so I'm going back to my my I guess late teens and 20s as a person that I had developed, and working from there, because you got to grow from that. So everything is growth, and I studied health and nutrition with a guy who's a famous author. He's gone in the 90s, Bernard Jensen.
Oh.
And when he was teaching, I did a couple of seminars or so. I mean, I was there for 3 or 4 days. He had a place in Escondido, California. And when he taught, I remember one of the key points he made is that you are born to grow. So just start the rebuilding project and realize that's the great part of life, man. Just discovering all that's real and filter. You control your filter. Don't let anybody put a filter on your head, but you. Because it does work for you when you discern and make distinctions. That's part of life too. But the Watchtower, man, that is poison, Rick. And it's good you brought that up.
I'll tell you. Well, it's so interesting, and people who have no inkling or idea about the Jehovah's Witnesses, and if they stumble onto this channel and start listening, they might think that we're kind of going overboard, or maybe we could go a little lighter on these guys. But I mean, I don't have a soft spot from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet for the Watchtower organization. And it's good to hear you say the same thing basically too, because we've all been affected by this. These guys have done a lot of damage. These guys really, they have got some people that are really hurt. I mean, seriously hurt. They can't even get through therapy. Some people have been hurt so much more than others. So we pray for them too. But this is just terrible, and the organization knows that's what they're doing. Well, thank you.
Oh, that's the thing.
Thank you.
Leaving the Watchtower.
Hold on, Pixie. Hold, Pixie. There's other people talking right now, so let them talk first. Go ahead.
That's okay. That's all right. Leaving the Watchtower is like when you quit smoking weed. You have to go back to that time when you started smoking it and start over, because when you start smoking that weed, it cuts you off right there, and you stay at 14 or 15 years old all the way through your life. Same thing with the Watchtower. Now you have to go back and relive those years,
Yeah.
Kind of like a bad habit.
Arrested development.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. That's the word.
Yeah. Very good.
Amen, brother.
Well, we're all trying to work together. We're all trying to do some deprogramming here tonight. So, Pixie, what you have to say?
Pixie, go ahead.
What I wanted to say hi to Matthew, but he made a great point liking the R2D2. And this week, I was looking at some religious Christmas music that was hip-hop chorus music. It was so different. And then some hilarious videos by Snoop Dogg, an entertainer that I've never listened to before. And I found that because this was contemporary, new, and different with a Christmas theme, I really enjoyed it because it wasn't the Victorian stuff, and it wasn't all the stuff that the witnesses in the Watchtower had put a stamp on saying no. So maybe with some of this more contemporary seasonal stuff, that might be a place to start.
Yeah, it could be so many different starting points, but we do have to start. It's a long journey for many. But, so many people too. Yes.
Oh, Rick, hi, it's Donnie here.
Hi, Donnie.
Yeah, deprogramming. So I'll tell you what I did last year to deprogram from the Watchtower. I went to a casino for the first time in my life. I had to travel 1 hour to get there. I was all dressed up in this velvet dress, hoping I might meet a James Bond type. But I had a really nice time. I really enjoyed it. I had a lovely meal there. and all the staff were really nice people, really good people. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I didn't actually gamble because I didn't want to make an idiot of myself because I wouldn't know what to do. But I watched what other people were doing and, got into the excitement and the enjoyment of it all. And it was really good. It was really nice.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. In fact, I was just thinking this week, as a matter of fact, in this country, they have a Powerball. It's a lottery, and it got up to almost. In fact, it was $1 billion. So I said to Susan the other day, Susan, I'm going to buy a few tickets. But even that kind of it gives you like a weird feeling. I mean, you can never buy a lotto ticket when you're one of Jehovah's Witnesses, right? And I mean, you don't want to get it out of control either. But it's just a funny thing. But that's kind of residual stuff left over in your head too. So there's so much stuff that to watch.
Wow.
Yeah, put in our head. What do you think, Donnie?
Well, I was just thinking, I remember, it was years ago now, but there was a congregation, I think it was in Scotland, and all the elders got disfellowshipped because they were in the lottery. They had a syndicate together and they won, millions, and they all got disfellowshipped. I'm pretty sure it was Scotland, but it was a long time ago now.
Well, we had a person, Donnie, come on this show once, and we all know him. He's not alive now. His name is Mark Paulo, but he was a New York Yankee baseball fan, and he moved from New York to Boston. And so, anyways, in the Kingdom Hall, there was a Red Sox fan that he went to, and he was a Yankee fan. So he said to the Red Sox the brother, I'll bet you a hot dog that the Yankees are going to win this game. And so someone tattled on him, and it went to the elders, and he was lugged in the back room because he was betting a hot dog on a baseball game. Jeez. I mean, do they have bigger fish to fry than that? Jeez, Unreal.
Right, isn't it? It's like there's nobody. Who can you trust when you're in a congregation? You can't tell anybody anything, can you?
No.
No. Okay. Thank you very much, Rick. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Donnie, for coming in from London. I know it's late over there, really. Thank you for coming on. Thank you.
Hey, Rick?
Yes, Susan.
One thing that we did over the years, and it was free, is we used to drive around and look at the lights on people's homes. And I think that probably encouraged us, even now after 11 years, to actually put up some lights. We tried a Christmas tree once. It didn't go over very well. We ended up throwing it out. It was only like a 2-foot high thing, but, we didn't keep it. We didn't keep the lights and the ornaments either. But lights appeal to people. Like when this sister that was just on, when she went to Las Vegas or wherever she went for the gambling, I'm sure there was a lot of lights there, and that appeals to people, and it's fun. It doesn't cost anything to look at the lights. So that's something to try, and it's easy to dip your toe into, and if you go to a couple houses and you can't stand it, well then just go home.
Well, Susan, that's funny. You say go to a couple houses and you can't stand it. There's witnesses that would never do that they wouldn't go out look at Christmas lights. There's witnesses that don't go to fireworks show at the 4th of July. That would bother them. But
I was like that, of course. I was a nasty witness. But, as time goes on, it's because you're so balanced in what you do. We usually kind of agree on things together, and it usually works out.
Well, you mentioned something there. We all have to have a starting point to start deprogramming. So maybe that's a good way to start doing it. Get in your car and go look at some Christmas lights. They're not going to bite you. I mean, look at them. I was coming home today, and it was dark out. It gets dark up here now. In fact, we get the darkest time of the year. 4:00, it's dark out here. And I'm driving home, and the lights were so beautiful. I was really awestruck by them. And maybe they've always been like this, but it seems like this year they're like magnificent. But maybe I just didn't notice them before. Maybe my brain was programmed not to notice them. I don't know. But I mean, that's a good starting point, Susan. Go out and start looking at some lights might do you good. You might be able to get into the Christmas spirit. Yes. Well, thank you, Susan. Well, in fact, I got more. I'm not going to beat this story to death, but I got information coming in into the six screens. I'm getting so much information coming in here from elders that are stepping down, that they don't want to be elders anymore. They're starting to see this. Look, at not everybody's dumb in the Watchtower. No, not everybody is just going to go along with everything they say. Now, this one elder, I can't get into too deep or anything about it, but I'll tell you basically what was being said here. He couldn't stand it anymore, and he was appointed an elder during COVID, and he just couldn't stand it. So after being an elder for 5 years, he said, "That's it. I've had enough." And he doesn't want to be involved with the witnesses anymore. Now he's got to be careful, because I've mentioned on here before, we had a number of elders that have gotten away from the organization. They don't want to be an elder. They don't even want to have anything to do with the witnesses, but their wives are still in it. And what do you do when your kids are in it? Boy, this puts a real problem in front of you. So, you got to kind of go slow with it. And this one particular elder, the elder was telling me the reason why he got out of the organization is the fact that when the circuit overseer would come around, they were constantly reminded in these elder training sessions, in these videos that Watchtower is putting out, they were constantly reminded to put on. Okay, what we did here, I got to put the phone back on. So just if you've been listening in, we're gonna have to put the phone back on. The phone goes off every 5 hours, so let's get it back on right now. So just give us a second. We'll get the phone line back on so people can listen on the phone. All right. I'm gonna do a different way here. Just give me a second. I gotta dial it up here. When the phone goes out, it only lasts for 5 or 6 hours, and it goes out. But let's dial the number here anyways.
We were unable to complete your.
Okay, just give us a second here. We'll get right back in, and we'll redial a number, get back into the phone call. So just bear with us if you're listening in on YouTube. We'll be right back. Let me just dial this phone number up. Hold on. Just stay with us on YouTube and Facebook. Don't go anywhere. We'll get this phone line hooked up again. So we'll be all set to go for another 5 hours. Let's do it right now. All right, give that a second. Get this phone line. We have a
Welcome to My One Number. If you are the host, press star now. Otherwise, wait. Please enter your PIN followed by the pound or hash. Thank you. There are 13 participants in the conference. Recording did not start because your storage is full. Please log in and delete recordings or purchase more storage from your account.
All right.
All participants are muted and they can unmute themselves.
All right. Thank you for hanging in with us there on YouTube and Facebook. But the telephone line is very important here. We have a line that people call in from all over the world on, and they listen in. So if you're just listening in, thank you for staying with us on the radio telephone line. Let's go back to that story with the elders I was just telling you about. So anyways, I get a lot of information coming in here in the last year of elders stepping down or quitting. And the reason why this one particular elder I'm talking about tonight had enough of it is the circuit overseer would come around, and they have these elder training sessions, as you elders out there are aware of, and they have videos that the Watchtowers produced. And in all of these training sessions and the videos, they're encouraging the elders to put up a united front, even if they disagree with each other. Even if they disagree with the directions coming from the branch, they are told never, ever, ever express that openly. And this is what the elders he gave information on this. He says, and you're told to make the friends believe that you are united. In other words, put on a front, make it look like you're all united. And they have to do that. And if they don't do it, they could be removed. And it's just terrible what he was saying. And in his congregation, there was a teenage daughter that was told her told her parents that there was a brother in the hall, a young brother that was molesting her. She was only 6 years old. And of course, the elders wanted to sweep it under the carpet. And that's enough for this elder. He couldn't take it. So imagine how many elders are hearing this. How many elders are hearing about the child molestation? How many elders have had enough? And here's something here that I find very fascinating. He was very emotional over this fact that his wife did not like the fact that, he'd have to go to these training sessions and elders school and staying after for meetings and elders meetings and what have you. And he started feeling really bad about his wife and saying it's really not fair to her. And she was getting emotionally upset too. He was spending too much time with the Watchtower. Hey, you're married to me, but you're spending too much time with the Watchtower. Then even his children. He started thinking about his children. Am I spending time with them? So he said, that's it. I've had enough. Friends, how many more elders are out there that are feeling the same thing? The Watchtower is in trouble. They're trying to get more and more elders, but there's more going out the back door than coming in the front door. So I wanted to bring that up tonight. And I really find it's detrimental to the survival of the Watchtower. If they can't get men to take the lead, what are they going to do? Well, we've been talking about this switching to women. They got women doing a lot of things now too, which is totally against their older policies. But friends, they're shuffling. They're doing everything they can to try to keep this ship alive, afloat, but it's sinking. Now, what I want to do, I wanted to mention tonight, and I want to show this to you. I played it earlier on the Barbara Anderson program earlier, but we have an AI artist that works here at the 6 Screens, and she's very, very talented. I mean, her talent goes beyond normal. And she created, you probably saw it last week. It was Charles Taze Russell calling himself a jellyfish. It's all over TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. It's basically gone viral. And so she produced another one this week all about Johannes Grieber. So what I'd like to do is I would like to play that for you. It's only about a minute long. And we're going to continue to upgrade our 6 Screens website. We're going to make it very AI, because I believe that people think in pictures, people reason in pictures, and people are moved to action in pictures. So if we can get the witnesses to see one little thing that might get them thinking, then they might want to see other things. So we're making a real effort here at the 6 Screens to help so many people that are locked in the clutches of the Watchtower. So let me share this video. I want you to see the video. It's very well done. I mean, I'm not just saying it because we did it here, but I have to tell you, getting really, really good reviews on it. So let's take a look at it. Okay, right here. There it is here. Let's play it right now. Listen to this. This is Johannes Grieber and the Watchtower.
Despite their claims of being God's chosen organization, Jehovah's Witnesses' beliefs are rooted in a dark history of occult practices and spiritism. Johannes Grieber, a German priest and spiritist, claimed spirits showed him what words to use in his Bible translation, entitled the New Testament, published in 1937. Although Grieber used the occult practice of necromancy, the Watchtower Society had numerously referenced Grieber's translation in the efforts to support their erroneous translation of John 1:1. In an article from the February 15, 1956 Watchtower magazine, the Society recognized that Grieber was a spiritist. They continued to reference Grieber through the years to support their own doctrines. After much public knowledge that Grieber was a spiritist, the Watchtower fabricated this article from questions from readers to rid themselves of any connections with Grieber's translation. They admit they recognized Grieber as a spiritist and deemed it improper to make use of a translation that had such a close rapport with Spiritism. Although the Society stated that they were unaware Grieber was a spiritist until the 1980 edition of the New Testament. 1956 Watchtower magazine proves the Society has always been aware of the fact that Grieber was a spiritist in a letter obtained by former member of the Watchtower Society Bill Setner. The Society writes to the Johannes Grieber Memorial Foundation, thanking them for the copies of Grieber's works, additionally asking them to send more copies. The letter is dated December 20th, 1980, 24 years after the Society recognized Grieber to be a spiritist.
Well, there you go. That's the AI video, and you're going to see more of those as we put them up on the 6 screens. Now, if you want to see them first when they come out, I want you to join the 6 Screens Facebook group. In Facebook, just go in there and join 6 Screens Facebook group, and we have quite the group in there. The numbers are really growing every day now. I'm getting people who want to join that group. So by all means, join the 6 Screens Facebook group, and you'll be able to see those videos when they come up. As well, we put them up there as fast as we can. So we're trying to produce 1 video a week. The next one coming up is going to be Charles Taze Russell and how he died on a train in Texas, and how he wanted to be dressed in a Roman toga. So, we can do so much with this AI. It's unbelievable. We get Grieber talking. We get Charles Taze Russell talking. In the first one we did about him calling himself a jellyfish. So he can do so much. And this is going to connect with the witnesses. They're going to, it would have connected with me. You see a little flaw, say, is that real? And then you look at it and you start checking things out and researching. So it can make a really, really big difference. So I want to thank the artist Jamie. As a matter of fact, she's my daughter, as a matter of fact. So I want to thank her for producing that video and actually graphically designing it. She did a really good job. So anyways, folks, we're going to bring our program to an end. I want to thank you all for coming into the 6 Screens tonight and spending a Saturday night with us. And we have a 6 Screens Sunday program tomorrow beginning at 1 o'clock. So if you are theologically challenged by the Watchtower and you'd like to know more, starting tomorrow at 1 o'clock, right here on the 6 Screens Sunday programming, we get into theology. We get into answering Bible questions. We don't do it on Saturday night, but for those interested, come and join us tomorrow. Well, thank you very much, as we say, for coming in tonight. I certainly want you always to continue standing tall. Don't you ever give in, up, or out. And the last one, leaving the Watchtower, please turn off the new light. We'll see you tomorrow on 6 Screens Sunday. Bye now.